Hey everybody, it's Michael Pedone with SalesBuzz.com, and I want to show you a poll that I put out about a week ago, almost a week ago, right? And the question in the poll was, it was actually one of the polls that is helpful rather than a lot of these dumb polls that we see on LinkedIn, but I digress. The poll was, when should pricing be discussed? And the options were before the presentation and demo or after the presentation/demo. Now, a lot of people got this one wrong. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you the results right here. Can you guess what the right answer is? Matter of fact, what do you think the split is percentage wise? I wanted to be shocked, but unfortunately I wasn't. Look at this. 68% of the people ended up getting it wrong, right? And now a lot of you might be going, wait, I would have picked pricing after the presentation or after the demo. That's what we've all been taught in sales. We're always taught never bring up price. We're taught do the presentation, build enough value, they'll find the money. Am I right? That's what you've been taught, correct? That's why you wait to the end to give them price. You're trying to build so much value that you give them the price that they'll go, oh my gosh, that's so great. We'll buy now. But it doesn't work that way, does it? Now, let me ask you a question. If that's your strategy, if you were taught and you're a big believer of waiting till after the presentation to discuss price, how often do you hear it's not in our budget or that's out of our price range? And now you have to get into objection handling. Quite often? Now, here's the thing. When somebody tells you it's not in their price range, not in their budget, it's only one of two things. They are either telling the truth or they are lying, correct? It can only be one of those two things, right? Correct? So if it's only one of those two things, here's what I want to say. And I was taught early on to only bring up price after the presentation as well. And it just kept failing. I mean, you get a deal once in a while, right? Okay, fine. That person had the budget. They liked the solution, whatever. But more often than not, I was hearing it's not in the budget or it's too high. Or we can't afford that. And then you get to the objection, then you're arm wrestling. And what I found out early on in my career after this was not working out is that, part of pricing is qualifying. And I think this is a big step that a lot of sales managers fail, only because they were taught incorrectly. They fail to pass this on to their team to realize that you can't just assume somebody has the pricing if the product and the problem is big enough and your solution is good enough that they'll find the money. Sure, that can work to your advantage sometimes. There's also going to be other times where it's just not possible and you're better off knowing this early on. The other reason to do this, what I'm about to show you too, is that before you discuss pricing, it's going to force you to make sure you understand who the person is that you're speaking to. A lot of times, how about this? How many times have you done a demo or a presentation, you found out that they have to take it to somebody else? So you're not even speaking with the decision maker or somebody that's part of the decision-making team. When you learn to properly qualify, you're going to avoid all these headaches that you run into on a regular basis down the road in your sales process. So the best way to handle pricing is always going to be, you ready for this? Once you've established problem recognition, you properly qualify them on they have to fit in the top 3 of the 5 roles as it relates to their role in the decision-making process. That might sound confusing, so let me just clarify this for you. Every prospect you ever speak to will fit into one of 5 roles as it relates to their ability to make a decision. Okay, so they have to be one of the top 3. The top 3, let me just give you the 5 so I know you're going to ask, right? They're either the decision maker, part of the decision-making team, influencer, end user, or info gather. If they're an info gather or an end user, we don't talk price with them. If they're an influencer and the company asks them to look into this, we talk price with them. If they are part of the decision-making team, meaning they have a vote, you need and want their vote, but their vote alone doesn't get the deal done, you can still bring up pricing with them. And obviously, if they're the ultimate decision-maker, you can discuss pricing. Now, when do you discuss pricing? It's right before you get to the presentation. So you have to follow the qualifying process where let's make sure there's a problem we can help solve. And then we identify to make sure that they have a right to hear the pricing range, right? So, and they can make a decision on that. And then once you find out what their role is, then you can say, okay, to help you solve this, you're going to be looking between this and this. Is that doable for you? Now, they go, yeah, that's within our price range. Great. You're not going to hear. Now you have to go to the presentation or do the demo. You're not going to hear Oh, we can't afford it. It eliminates that from, they might want to negotiate, no problem. But you're eliminating the number one objection is it's not in our budget, and you do it early. And if you do it soon after you establish problem recognition, which means, by the way, if you get problem recognition, it means they recognize they have a problem. They're wanting it solved. So now you're holding the cards. You just got to do two more steps, which is to identify and make sure they're part of the decision-making team or the decision maker, or at least an influencer that was asked to look into it. And then you can go ahead and give them that price range and ask the question to see if that fits within what they were expecting and what they can handle if they decide they like it. Okay? Hope this helps. And this is why you want to handle pricing beforehand, to get rid of it's not in our budget. And then you're not sure if they're telling the truth or they're lying. And then you have to get to the whole arm wrestling, objection handling nonsense. If you follow the process that I outline, and I have this all outlined in the SalesBuzz course, but if you follow the steps, one more, they're so simple. Your life is going to be so much easier and better, and you're going to make so much more money once you learn the proper way to sell, where you're asking the right questions at the right time for the right reasons, and you know what to do with the responses that you get. Your pipeline is going to be filled with a high percentage chance of opportunities to close. All right? I hope this helps. Take care, everybody.